acknowledge that even I do it to where I get on the show and I'll say, I don't want my tax dollars going to this. I don't want my tax going to, as if it's just the money. It's not just the money for me. It's the fact that I don't want my money or to be supportive of war, period, because I think it's just the most evil thing that we do. It's the lowest. That when we started off the show earlier, that's the lowest of our animalistic nature, to kill other people.
Oh my God.
You say you don't want to support these wars. Let me ask, are you still sending them your tax money? James, you may have missed it. Or I don't know, you may be a little bit confused, but I don't write a check to send my tax dollars to the wars. And I think you may have missed earlier where I was saying that I do not want my tax dollars, getting the call. I was saying earlier that I don't want my tax dollars going to support these causes. So unfortunately, the only thing that we can do on our end is vote for a candidate that we believe will not be sending our tax dollars to support these wars. So to answer your question, let me ask, are you still sending them your tax money? Do you mean me personally, or do you mean whoever's president at the time sending our tax dollars? And I think that's one of the reasons why we've complained about the previous administration. And one of the things that I, for one, embraced when it came to Trump is because I think that Trump is in the best position to end a lot of these conflicts and to put America first, just from that standpoint. So he may be doing it just selfishly. I'm not saying that Trump has the same opinion on war that we have, where it's just like, we don't want war, it's not good. Maybe he does. Maybe the businessman in him is also aligned with that. Or maybe it's just him saying, like, shoot, I just don't want my money going. I don't want American citizens and their tax dollars going to these wars. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But for me, it's not just about the money. And that's something that I was highlighting earlier, James, where I acknowledge that even I do it to where I get on the show and I'll say, I don't want my tax dollars going to this. I don't want my tax going to, as if it's just the money. It's not just the money for me. It's the fact that I don't want my money or to be supportive of war, period, because I think it's just the most evil thing that we do. It's the lowest. That when we started off the show earlier, that's the lowest of our animalistic nature, to kill other people. Think about that. That is when we are at our lowest point in humanity, and we justify it. We justify it. You know, it's in some of our religious books. So when you think about it from that standpoint, how can we, and I get it may be in the Old Testament, all these things, but how can it be justified in our religious books? But then we have, you know, also one of the 10 commandments is thou shalt not kill, right? So perhaps there's some contradictions there. You know, I don't know. I don't want to, you know, offend anybody in their religious perspective, but I'm just giving y'all my opinion. I don't need to read a book to convince me that killing people is wrong. It just naturally feels that way. And getting back to what Ant said, which is when he said, study the kids, see how the kids just live in the moment. Kids don't naturally hate each other. Kids naturally want to play with each other. That is learned behavior. Learned behavior. And I think we're going to actually, to kind of shift the point a little bit, to talk about learned behavior. We can learn from a lot of our kids. And I think that a lot of the things that we think that we're developing over time. We think that we're growing over time. We think that our kids are the most vulnerable and they're the most least intelligent. Maybe we should study how our kids act on the playground when they meet somebody that looks totally different than them, but they still want to hang out, still want to play with them, not judging them about anything. Matter of fact, they may even be curious to learn about, hey, what are things in your culture? They're more curious rather than fearful. The older we get, and this reminds me of even when it comes to COVID, I did not know this, but, and I think we have a video on it later, where they said that no child, I think RFK Jr. said it. He said no healthy child died from COVID. Think about that. He said no healthy child died from COVID. And I know your point. Let me take this down, James, because I know that's a little bit different than your point. But when we talk about the development from our early stages to when we become adults, we would think that our kids are more vulnerable than us, right? How is it that Like, isn't that just something that's on your mind? Like, how is it that no healthy child died from COVID, but we had all of these adults dying from COVID? To me, that shows us once again that we're not developing right from a health standpoint. So we're not developing from a spiritual standpoint, we're not developing from a health standpoint, and then we wonder why a lot of times the older we get, the more stubborn we get, the more stuck in our ways we are, the more the harder we get. um and maybe it's just that the world and society, depending on the culture that we live in, maybe we have that to blame, and maybe that we should shine a light on that and take some accountability in going a different direction, in becoming healthier beings, into becoming more spiritual beings, using our imagination like we used to as kids. Because as kids, we always used to manifest, we always used to daydream and imagine and have all these amazing goals and big dreams. Maybe we should get back to that. I remember reading a quote where they said that Einstein was asked, how, and I don't even know if it's one of these things that, well, Einstein supposedly said this. Who knows if it's true? I just like the message. But they asked Einstein what he could do, what they should do to develop their children. And he said, I would have my kids watch more Disney movies, more Disney movies. And to me, it really, I think we were having this conversation at the men's retreat over this weekend where Peter Pan, like, do y'all realize what Peter Pan was telling us? If you think positive thoughts, you can fly. Like, that entire concept was built on like manifestation, the exchange of energy. If you think positive thoughts, we flourish, we elevate by moving with a positive energy and a positive frequency. We elevate society. Think about these things. Think about these things. So a lot of times we'll just, that's just a movie, or that's just a cartoon. Is it? I don't know. Leslie wrote, James, are you asking if he's paying taxes? Yeah, I'm like, well, I didn't really catch that one, James. You gotta clarify for me. Alexander Brewer said, not to be a stickler, but the commandment is thou shalt not murder, which is unjustified killing. Killing in all of itself is not a sin. Murdering is, which is killing without justification. But let me ask you this, Alexander Brewer. That may be 100% true. Have you read the book of Enoch? So something interesting about the book of Enoch, which was removed from the Bible, is that they were talking about this group called the Watchers. And it was supposed to be these godly beings, these giants. And this was when this is which time period was this? I'm trying to make sure that I get my story together. But pretty much, let me give y'all just a little context around it. But these giants were supposed to look after humanity, but instead they came down. They came down and they were called like the angels, whatever, a few different names. They came down, and the reason why, and this is during the time, matter of fact, Enoch is Noah's great grandfather. I believe Enoch is Noah's great grandfather. So hear me out on this. The reason why God decided to flood the planet, read that book of Enoch, because that, from my understanding, details a lot of these things, but it was removed from the Bible. And it was showing that these watchers, they came down, and it said that their sins were having sex with the human women, but also that their sin was eating animals. Eating animals. And I always thought about that. And I've posted that on my story before. Like, when I read it, I'm like, hold on. Is this telling us all that we need to be vegans? Is this telling us all? Because that was something that I always thought about when he says, thou shalt not kill. So you're saying that, or thou shalt not murder, which is unjustified killing. Let me ask you this, Alexander. What's justified murder? What's justified murder? And see, this is why religion can be so dangerous, because it's all up to your individual perception. What's justified murder? You did something to me, so therefore I should murder you. Like, who gets to say whether or not it's justified? Me? You? God? I don't. Who gets to say whether or not it's justified? There's a lot of things that we justify in our life. There's a lot of things that people may do to you that they justified for whatever reason. But does that mean that you're justifying it? Like, who gets to decide whether or not it's justified? The person that's getting killed or the person that's doing the killing? I'm just so these are the type of things that go into play where it's like, this is why maybe we'd be better off to just have a rule. You can't kill, you can't murder. Forget all the semantics and the particulars of unjustified and that. What's justified? A lot of people are saying that what's going on between Israel and Palestine, it's justified. A lot of people say what's going on between Ukraine and Russia was justified. A lot of people say what Christopher Columbus came here and did, the man that we celebrate in this country, what he did to the natives and our indigenous folks was justified. What does justified even mean? That would be my question. Bez wrote, wars are also started off of beliefs. The Christians have been some of the biggest murderers throughout history, killing those who don't believe what they believe. That's a fact, bro. That's what I'm saying. That's why religion can be so dangerous, because think about what religion is. Religion is simply influence. Religion is simply influence. That's what can make it so dangerous, because people get behind it. It's no different than getting behind your favorite influencer on TikTok or Jim Jones leading people to take poison and kill themselves. Influence has a lot of potential danger. And when you have people that follow a religion and they follow it based on, this is who I give credit for creating all of this, and this is who I need to follow in order to make sure that I can live eternally in the afterlife, in heaven, or wherever you believe that you're going to go, I'm going to justify these things. Christians were running around in the name of Christianity. Matter of fact, wasn't Manifest Destiny, like, wasn't that built around, like, wasn't and Maya, I think it's that if you look at that show Shogun, wasn't it pretty much that Christians were able to take over any land if the people in that land were not practicing Christianity? That's what Muslims did when the Arabs came through Africa. So religion has always been used to justify killings. Now, is it murder? Is it killing? Like, you tell me, Alexander, is it justified? If these people don't believe what I believe, is it okay for me to kill them? I don't know. I don't know. You tell me. iRock wrote, justification is perspective, though. 100%. Self-defense, justified murder. I'll be totally honest. If even in a self-defense situation, I'm going to defend myself. Let's say that I'm in a situation where I have to defend myself and I have to take it there all the way in order to protect myself. I don't feel good about it. I could tell myself that it's justified. I could tell myself that, oh, well, by law, that this is okay. I mean, if that's the case, and think about this, different states have different laws when it comes to self-defense. If I'm in Florida, okay, it's justified because I can stand your ground. But if I'm in New York, it's not just, you get what I'm saying? This is just all man creating these rules based on our perception. And like iRock just wrote, justification is all perspective, though. So I don't think that as humans, we are responsible enough to use individual perspective, especially based on our current culture and society, because let's just be honest, we all look out for ourselves first and foremost over everybody else. So that justification is always going to come from a selfish perspective of what's best for me in that moment. So that would be my thoughts on it. Shouldn't the question be what's justified killing? I agree. Religion was the politics before politics. That's real. That's real. Catholic Church is the reason for our secrets. I believe that. Mama Lay wrote, Wizard of Oz is another example like Peter Pan. 100%. I agree. Bez wrote, the Bible justifies murder. The Quran justifies murder. People believe it's God's words, just like one believes they can create and manifest their lives. People's beliefs, bro. I'm with you. And this is why it's so important for us to be able to have just open conversation, because to be totally honest, just having a lot of these conversations with different people, imagine having this conversation that we're having right now with different individuals, especially when you bring up religion. I remember Malcolm X towards the when he split with the Nation of Islam, he went on his pilgrimage to Mecca and he came back and he was working with a lot of the other civil rights leaders that he used to not want to work with and used to, talk about calling them Uncle Toms or whatever. And he said that we can't talk about religion. because religion is too, it's just gonna, it's too toxic to the point where it's just gonna create so much separation rather than us understanding that, like, it's almost like we can, once you put religion into the conversation, we could agree on 99% of things, but that 1% that we disagree, just because it's principled and we stand on in our religion, we'll throw everything else away. So to me, yes, religion can be very dangerous. It goes back to the balance. This is why I've been like, if you caught me maybe 10 years ago, if you caught me 8 years ago, I was definitely just opposed completely to religion. Now I'm in a little bit of a different place because I do understand that people need rules, or that currently we need rules, or maybe, I don't know, are the rules just, let me ask y'all this. Do you believe that our society, the rules that our government puts on us, do you believe that now we're just walking through the world because we're just seeing it as not breaking laws, that we're not seeing it as, oh, well, actually, I just shouldn't be doing this because I'm doing this to my fellow mankind, or I'm doing this to my fellow brother or sister in humanity? Do you think that we're just so, and it's the same thing that I said, like, when it becomes very insensitive for me to say, I don't want my tax dollars going to their war. Well, it's not my tax dollars that I should be saying. I just don't want to support a war. You get what I'm saying? So it's just little intricacies, semantics, perhaps, but perhaps those little, seeing those things from a different perspective, perhaps they set a huge tone on our outlook and perspective and how we interact with each other. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just throwing it out there. Uncle Brother wrote, if murder is unjustified killing and you kill in self-defense, is that then a justified killing? If murder is unjustified killing and you kill in self-defense, so you're saying that that would not be murder. So self-defense would not be murder. Is that a justified killing? Um, yeah, that's the question. That's the question. And a lot of these things in life that we answer, um, it's going to be tough, because if you kill or try to kill me, or if you try to kill mines, then my mindset is going to be in a totally different place, perhaps, than I'm talking to y'all right now with the kumbaya stuff. Just being totally honest. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't talk about it and acknowledge that we perhaps should be moving in that direction a little bit more, so, or a lot more. I don't know. But it's these are the things. This is why humanity's not perfect. This is why um we're in a lot of the positions that we're in today. I don't know. I don't know. Whoo! Open convo is what religion hates. I am 100% with you. 100% with you. Open convo is what religion hates. I 100% agree with you. And yeah, I was gonna say most of these religions are saying very similar things, with the exception of maybe like a Buddhism. But Buddhism, I believe that people don't even believe that that's a religion. I believe that most people that believe in Buddhism or practice Buddhism see it as more spirituality than a religion. But I guess that's for everybody's perception. So Uncle Brother wrote, that problem, the problem with rules is that people making the rules think the rules are made to be broken. Yeah, there's a lot of things with rules, and are rules just, and this is the thing, if it's almost as if, like, do rules encourage bad behavior, or do they encourage us to see the world? Like, I don't know. I mean, I couldn't imagine, like, let's say if there were no rules, what would that look like? Would it look like a purge? Would it be you know what may end up happening? You know what really may end up happening, and this is not what I'm trying to encourage at all, but I'm just having the convo with y'all. Think about it from this standpoint. If there were no rules, things, I believe, for the first, in the short term, would look very purgish. People just out here doing whatever, doing. But would it get to a point where people realize that we can't do this? We can't do this for, but then I guess it would still be them then deciding to set rules, and then going to war with those people that don't want to follow the rules. I don't know. Should we have a Amsterdam approach? Y'all remember The Wire with Amsterdam? Have certain areas where it's like, yo, y'all, if y'all want to be over there following that way of life, no rules, y'all do y'all thing over there. Over here, this is how we live. It's a tough one. All right, let's get back to we haven't even gotten into a lot of these videos. It's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real